Hi, I'm Callie Yanta, and welcome to this edition of Minnesota Marriage Minute, where we look at issues related to the proposed Marriage Protection Amendment. Today, let's examine a claim that some have made, namely that passing the Marriage Protection Amendment would end the ongoing conversation that our state is engaged in concerning the appropriate definition of marriage in Minnesota. Actually, the opposite is true. There's no doubt that the issue of whether we should redefine marriage is one of the most hotly debated across the nation. A recent survey by the Associated Press found that 40% of Americans wanted to legalize gay marriage, while 42% were opposed. This debate has played out for several years at dining room tables, in courtrooms, and legislative halls, and at the ballot box. In fact, voters in 32 states have been able to vote on the definition of marriage, and all have voted to maintain marriage as the union of one man and one woman. Here in Minnesota, enacting the Marriage Protection Amendment would not end the conversation about marriage. It is actually the only way to guarantee that voters will always be a part of the conversation. Without the amendment, special interest advocates would be able to take their cause to activists, politicians, and judges who would then decide the definition of marriage for us, without letting us have a say. Voters will be excluded from the decision. That's what happened across the border in Iowa and in the handful of states that recognize gay marriage. Without the amendment, it could happen in Minnesota as well. There is already a case pending in Minnesota, in fact, in which the higher courts have said traditional marriage must be put on trial. This could result in the redefinition of marriage, ending the conversation with no voter input. And a court decision could permanently bar voters from addressing the situation in the future. If a decision in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is adopted nationally, then once the courts impose gay marriage in a state, voters are barred from having any say. If the Marriage Protection Amendment is adopted in Minnesota, it would not permanently ban gay marriage. It would mean that voters would always be in charge of the decision. If gay marriage supporters wanted to redefine marriage, all they would need to do is bring the issue back to the people in a new vote. It's ironic that gay marriage activists are fond of claiming that the arc of history is on their side. If they truly believe that, then shouldn't they trust us, the voters, to decide the definition of marriage in Minnesota? To learn more about the Marriage Protection Amendment, please go to minnesotaformarriage.com. I'm Callie Yanta. Thanks for watching.